This video is really for people who are not used to negotiating. What I'm going to do is give you a few basic principles and then a simple plan that you can follow that will work for you in most situations. Hello and welcome to the channel, and if you're new here, my name's John Wolfendale and I'm the founder and CEO of Ecovita Homes. We take what may look like a complex task of building a villa in Spain and we make it simple. So if you need some help, contact me through the website, that's ecovitahomes.com. Now, buying property in most circumstances is a zero-sum game. Now that means that for every euro that the price rises, that is a euro you lose. And for every euro that the price falls, that is a euro you win. Now, the chances are in most situations anyway, that the relationship with the seller is not important. So you don't know the seller, you've got no other business with the seller, and you'll probably never talk to them again once the purchase is completed. Now, this is not true of almost every other relationship in our lives. Certainly business relationships are all about building trust and building confidence, but not when you're buying property. And the fact that the relationship isn't important changes everything. In this game, the seller is trying to push the price to the maximum you will pay, and you are trying to push the price to the minimum they will accept. A game changer in the game is to have an alternative. So let's imagine for a moment that you found your plot of land and you mention money to the seller or to the seller's agent, or you express serious interest. I can almost guarantee it, the following day you'll get a call from the seller or from the seller's agent saying that someone else is also interested in buying the land, and probably at the asking price. Now, that may or may not be true, you'll still get the call. And we know what they're doing, right? They're playing the game and they're creating for themselves an alternative. And the idea is that creates fear in your mind that you might lose your dream plot, your dream property, unless, of course, you offer the maximum that you're prepared to pay. So what is the equivalent move in the game that you can make? Well, obviously, you found another piece of land, haven't you, that you like almost as much. In some ways, you like it even better than the seller's piece of land. Now, that may or may not be true, but the point is it creates an alternative for you, and it creates the notion in the mind of the seller and the seller's agent that they might lose you as a buyer because you might buy an alternative piece of land. That puts downward pressure on the price in the negotiation, and who knows, you might even get to their minimum settlement point. Now, that may well sound like too much theory, and we all know, and of course I know, that properties are priced a little bit more than the seller will take, and that sellers will just wait for a buyer to come along who will pay the amount that they're asking. But let me say two things. One is that asking prices do not come out of a market study or any kind of formal valuation process, and might well be wrong, might well be inflated. Sellers will pluck a number out of the air and add something to it, and that becomes the asking price. So we throw away the asking price once we found the land and we do our own numbers. Secondly, it's an important principle. We know that they will find an alternative from their position, which is another buyer that is interested in buying the plot, and you should do the same. Try find at least two plots of land that you're interested in, because that will strengthen your position. Okay, I'm going to lay out for you a very simple plan that you can follow in almost every situation. But before I do that, 3 tips. One is, before you start, you must establish your maximum settlement point. Okay, the maximum that you are prepared to pay for the land, and we can help you with that. And we can do what we call a residual valuation. We take the notional value of the completed development, we take away from that number all the costs of the development, including taxes and professional fees and everything, and that leaves us with a residual valuation, which is the maximum that you can pay for the land without making a loss on paper. Secondly, get your NIE number lined up, your lawyer appointed, and your bank account opened, because that will signal to the seller that you're serious and that you mean business, and it'll add weight to the offers that you make. Thirdly, expect a maximum of 3 to 4 movements in the negotiation, assuming of course that the seller is sincere in their intentions, and we know there's a lot of overpriced property on the market, but assuming they want to sell and you want to buy, it should not be a prolonged process. 3 or maybe 4 moves, offer, counter offer, and you should be able to strike a bargain. Okay, so here's my 4-point Ackerman plan with numbers. First, calculate the maximum you're prepared to pay and seriously mean it. And as stated, we can help you with that. Secondly, set your first offer at 65% of that number and be prepared to raise your offer by 2 decreasing amounts at 85% and 95%. Thirdly, use lots of empathy and different ways of saying no to get the seller to counter before you increase your offer. And fourthly, here's an example with numbers. Let's imagine that the maximum settlement point is 100,000 for a plot. So your opening offer will be 65,000. Your maximum second offer will be 85,000, or 15% below their counter offer. Your next offer will be a maximum of 95,000, or 5% below their counter offer. And finally, if they don't budge, your final offer will be something like 100,237 euros, or very close to their counter offer. Make it a non-round number and combine it with a time frame for the deposit and completion. These are potentially negotiable things, and they can allow you to concede non-monetary points that save face. If they don't accept it, you've reached your maximum settlement point and you walk away from the negotiation. So please don't forget to subscribe to the channel to take advantage of all the videos which are coming up. Do that now. If you like this video, like it, and I'll see you in the next video.